Leg pain doesn't always come from injury, age, or lack of movement. For many seniors, the real cause is something far more surprising, something sitting right on the breakfast table. If your legs feel heavy, weak, or stiff, especially in the morning or after meals, the issue may not be your joints or muscles at all. It may be what you're eating. There's one common food that quietly triggers inflammation, drains energy from your legs, and makes even short walks feel like a struggle. Most seniors don't suspect it, but removing it can bring real relief, faster than you might expect. If this kind of honest, helpful health advice matters to you, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, or subscribe. It helps more than you think, and it tells us you'd like more clear, caring content made just for you. Refined white bread might seem like a simple, harmless part of a daily meal, but for seniors, it carries a hidden cost. This common food can quietly contribute to leg pain, stiffness, and muscle weakness without any obvious warning. White bread is made from refined flour that has been stripped of most nutrients and fiber. What remains is a carbohydrate that quickly turns into sugar in the bloodstream. This rapid spike in blood sugar doesn't just affect energy, it triggers low-grade inflammation throughout the body. For older adults, that inflammation tends to settle in the muscles, joints, and nerves of the lower body, where it can silently erode mobility and comfort over time. Many doctors point to the high glycemic index of white bread as a core concern. Foods with a high glycemic index cause blood sugar to rise and fall quickly. In younger people, the body can often handle these swings. But after 50, the body's ability to regulate blood sugar becomes less efficient. These repeated spikes and crashes can stress blood vessels, increase fluid retention, and irritate joint linings. Over time, this creates a perfect storm for leg discomfort, tightness, soreness, and even swelling after meals or periods of sitting still. There's also the issue of poor circulation. Refined carbs like those in white bread can increase triglyceride levels and lead to sluggish blood flow. When blood struggles to move efficiently through the lower legs, oxygen delivery to muscles and nerves is reduced. This often feels like leg fatigue, especially when climbing stairs or walking short distances. In some cases, poor circulation contributes to numbness, tingling, or the strange sensation of heaviness in the thighs or calves. Some doctors also note that diets high in refined white bread often crowd out healthier options. That means less fiber, fewer anti-inflammatory nutrients, and fewer minerals like magnesium or potassium, both of which are essential for muscle function and nerve signaling. When magnesium is low, seniors may experience nighttime leg cramps, restlessness, or twitching in the calves. When potassium drops, muscles can feel weak, shaky, or slow to respond, even without strenuous activity. In this way, white bread doesn't just cause problems. It prevents the body from receiving what it truly needs. A number of studies have found that older adults who reduce their intake of refined carbs like white bread experience a noticeable improvement in joint stiffness and muscle energy within weeks. While white bread alone may not be the only cause of leg pain, its effects build slowly and steadily. For someone over 60, even a small daily portion can be enough to tip the balance. And when combined with a lack of movement or other processed foods, the impact multiplies. Leg pain that once felt like aging or fatigue might actually be a signal from the body to look more closely at what's on the plate. Doctors often recommend switching to breads made with whole grains, which digest more slowly and don't cause the same blood sugar reaction. But the first step is simply awareness. Understanding that something as routine as a slice of white toast can quietly contribute to ongoing pain. Once recognized, that knowledge gives people the power to make better choices. And for many seniors, that one change can be enough to lighten the legs, ease the walk, and restore a sense of comfort they hadn't felt in years. Magnesium plays a quiet but essential role in keeping muscles strong, relaxed, and pain-free, especially in the legs. As the body ages, magnesium levels naturally decline, making it more difficult for muscles to recover, contract smoothly, or remain free from cramping. For seniors, this drop can go unnoticed until symptoms like leg fatigue, spasms, or restless twitching become part of daily life. One of the most overlooked contributors to this problem is refined white bread. Not only is it nearly void of magnesium itself, but it also takes the place of better foods that could restore what the body is missing. White bread is made from refined wheat flour that has been stripped of most of its natural nutrients during processing. That means almost all the magnesium that once existed in the grain is removed before it even reaches the plate. While the bread may taste soft and familiar, it delivers little support to the muscles that carry the body each day. Worse, it often displaces whole grains, nuts, seeds, or leafy vegetables, foods that are rich in the magnesium seniors need most. When white bread becomes a staple, it crowds out the very nutrients that could protect the legs from pain and fatigue. A number of doctors have raised concerns about this imbalance. They point out that many seniors already struggle to absorb enough magnesium due to changes in digestion and medication use. Adding nutrient-poor foods like white bread only deepens the deficit. Without enough magnesium, muscles lose their ability to relax properly, leading to tightness, cramping, or that nagging ache that feels worse at night. Some seniors report twitching in the calves or thighs when lying down, or waking up with sudden sharp cramps that make it difficult to fall back asleep. These signs often trace back to low magnesium levels, not aging alone. Research also suggests that magnesium helps regulate calcium inside muscle cells. When levels drop too low, calcium builds up and triggers overcontraction. This is one of the reasons leg cramps become more common and more severe with age, especially in those who consume high amounts of processed carbohydrates. White bread may not directly cause the cramp, but it quietly weakens the body's defenses against it. Over time, that daily habit can leave the muscles more vulnerable and less able to recover after simple activity like walking, climbing stairs, or standing in one place for too long. Replacing white bread with more supportive options is one way to stop the cycle, but recognizing its silent role in magnesium loss is the first step. For seniors dealing with unexplained leg pain or nighttime discomfort, it's not always about stretching or exercise. Sometimes the answer is found in the plate, and in choosing foods that give back what aging slowly takes away. White bread may not taste sweet, but inside the body it behaves almost the same as sugar. Once eaten, it quickly breaks down into glucose, leading to a sharp rise in blood sugar. This spike triggers the release of insulin, a hormone that helps shuttle sugar out of the bloodstream. But for seniors, this cycle is often more intense and more dangerous. The quick surge is usually followed by a sudden drop, leaving the body in a low-energy state. This is when many seniors begin to feel a wave of fatigue, heaviness in the legs, or a strange sense of weakness that seems to come out of nowhere. Doctors have long warned about the effects of blood sugar swings in older adults, especially when refined carbohydrates like white bread are eaten regularly. After the crash, energy levels drop below normal, and the legs may feel like they're dragging. In some cases, seniors report a subtle tingling or even numbness in the feet and calves. This isn't simply tiredness from walking or age-related slowing. It's a metabolic response that's tied directly to food. The nerves in the lower body are especially sensitive to these rapid changes, and over time, repeated sugar crashes can interfere with normal nerve function. The connection between blood sugar and nerve health becomes more critical with age. As the body becomes less efficient at processing glucose, the highs and lows become steeper. This puts added stress on small blood vessels that nourish the nerves, especially those in the legs and feet. Some studies show that when these nerves don't get steady fuel, they begin to misfire, sending weak, delayed, or even painful signals. That's why after a simple sandwich or slice of white toast, some seniors notice an uncomfortable pressure or dull pain deep in the legs without any clear cause. Another issue is the temporary muscle weakness that often follows a crash in blood sugar. Muscles depend on a stable stream of energy to stay responsive, but when glucose levels swing too fast, muscles can't keep up. Seniors may notice they tire faster during walks or feel unsteady after standing up. Doctors say this form of fatigue is different from poor fitness. It's metabolic, driven by what's happening in the bloodstream. And white bread, despite being soft and easy to digest, plays a surprisingly big role in triggering that roller coaster. While many seniors understand the dangers of table sugar or sweets, few suspect that a common slice of bread can set off the same cascade of events. Its effects are quiet but powerful. The repeated cycle of spikes and crashes slowly chips away at nerve health and energy reserves, leaving the legs less reliable and more prone to weakness. For those over 60, recognizing the hidden sugar-like behavior of white bread can be the key to restoring balance, reducing pain, and feeling stronger from the ground up. Inflammation is often thought of as something visible, redness, swelling, or heat in a joint. But for many people over 60, inflammation works differently. It moves quietly through the body, especially in the nerves and blood vessels that supply the legs. This type of low-grade, internal inflammation doesn't cause obvious pain at first. Instead, it slowly damages the delicate fibers responsible for strength, balance, and coordination. One of the foods most commonly linked to this process is refined white bread. Though soft and familiar, it contains highly processed flour that triggers a series of inflammatory responses in the body, especially dangerous for aging nerves. Researchers have found that white bread raises levels of certain inflammatory markers in the bloodstream. These markers, like C-reactive protein, CRP, increase when the immune system is reacting to a threat, even if the threat is something as ordinary as a slice of bread. Over time, this repeated immune response begins to harm healthy tissue, particularly the small nerve endings in the feet, calves, and thighs. These peripheral nerves are responsible for sensation and movement. When they're damaged, the result can be numbness, tingling, burning, or a deep ache that doesn't go away with rest. Doctors explain that refined carbohydrates, including white bread, feed inflammation by rapidly converting to sugar in the bloodstream. This causes a cascade of hormonal changes that activate immune cells unnecessarily. For older adults whose bodies are more sensitive to such shifts, the damage builds up silently. Unlike a sprained ankle or bruised knee, nerve inflammation develops without warning. By the time symptoms are felt, the nerves may already be compromised. Some seniors experience frequent stumbling, leg weakness, or a delayed response when trying to lift a foot or shift balance, all signs that the nerves are struggling to communicate with the muscles. This silent inflammation is particularly troubling because it often goes undetected in routine checkups. Seniors may be told their blood work looks normal, even as their legs feel heavier, slower, or less stable. But the connection between diet and nerve inflammation is becoming clearer. Multiple studies now suggest that a diet high in refined grains, such as those in white bread, plays a key role in damaging nerve pathways. Removing or reducing these foods can help lower inflammation, restore nerve function, and improve overall leg mobility. Recognizing this connection gives seniors a powerful opportunity to protect their independence and comfort, simply by rethinking what's on the plate. For seniors living with arthritis, even small daily choices can quietly influence how much pain or stiffness they feel. One of the most overlooked contributors is something as common as a slice of toast. White bread, made from refined grains, may seem harmless, but it has a powerful effect on the joints. These processed carbohydrates increase oxidative stress in the body, a condition where unstable molecules known as free radicals begin to damage healthy tissue. In the joints, this stress worsens inflammation, slows down tissue repair, and deepens the stiffness many seniors feel in the knees, hips, and hands. Refined white bread offers very little in terms of nutritional support. It's stripped of fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and digests quickly into sugar. This rapid breakdown fuels chemical reactions that release inflammatory substances into the bloodstream. For older adults already dealing with joint pain, this extra inflammation adds to the wear and tear on cartilage and connective tissue. Doctors have noted that diets high in refined grains often correspond with higher levels of pain and slower recovery after activity. The joints are more swollen in the morning, and moving after rest becomes harder, especially in colder or damp conditions. Some physicians report that when seniors reduce or eliminate white bread from their diets, the Difference can be noticeable. Morning stiffness begins to ease, joint swelling decreases, and walking becomes more comfortable. This improvement isn't due to medication. It's the body responding to a lower inflammatory load. Without constant irritation from food-based triggers, the joints get a chance to calm down. Over time, this can mean fewer flare-ups and a more stable range of motion, which is especially important for those wanting to stay active and independent. It's also important to consider that oxidative stress doesn't just affect the joints. It can interfere with the immune system's ability to manage inflammation properly. When white bread is eaten regularly, it contributes to a cycle where inflammation builds faster than the body can repair. This leads to greater sensitivity in already inflamed joints, especially those in the lower body that bear weight. For seniors struggling with arthritis in the hips or knees, this ongoing stress can make every step more painful. Recognizing the connection between bread and arthritis gives older adults an opportunity to support their joints more effectively. It's not about avoiding all bread forever. It's about understanding which types add to the problem and making room for better choices. For many seniors, that awareness alone leads to less pain, easier movement, and a better quality of life, beginning with the very first meal of the day. Cutting out white bread from the diet is a good first step, but for many seniors, the problem doesn't stop there. Refined white flour, the very ingredient that makes white bread harmful, still hides in dozens of other foods that may seem harmless. Even when loaves of white bread are no longer in the kitchen, similar products quietly find their way back into daily meals. These hidden sources continue to trigger inflammation and contribute to leg pain, fatigue, and joint discomfort, often without being noticed. Hamburger buns, dinner rolls, and sandwich buns are some of the most common examples. Though they may appear more textured or slightly brown on the outside, they're often made from the same refined white flour as standard white bread. Many store-bought versions are labeled as enriched or soft wheat, but these terms do not mean whole grain. In most cases, they still lack fiber and contain the fast-digesting starches that spike blood sugar and promote inflammation. Crackers, biscuits, and even some breakfast pastries also fall into this category. These items are frequently consumed by seniors because they're easy to chew, convenient, and often used as light snacks or meal accompaniments. But when made with refined flour, they carry the same risks. Over time, even small daily portions of these foods can keep the body in a state of low-grade inflammation, especially in the joints and nerves of the legs. Doctors warn that it's this chronic, unnoticed exposure that makes recovery so difficult for many older adults. Some pasta, products, and processed snack foods also contain high levels of refined white flour, even when they appear neutral or mild. Reading ingredient lists carefully becomes important, as many products labeled as multigrain or natural still use white flour as their base. For seniors working to reduce leg pain or improve balance and muscle function, identifying these sneaky sources is essential. Recognizing where white bread hides allows seniors to take more control over their health. It's not just about removing a single loaf. It's about understanding how this ingredient stays in the diet through other forms. Once these hidden culprits are removed or replaced, the body has a better chance to heal. Inflammation begins to calm, and the legs can finally feel lighter, more stable, and less burdened by silent triggers. White bread doesn't just affect the body, it can quietly influence how the brain and muscles work together. Some neurologists have identified a link between high intake of refined carbohydrates, like those found in white bread, and a condition known as nerve fog. This is a state where thinking feels slow, focus fades, and reaction times become delayed. For seniors, this kind of fog doesn't just impact memory or alertness. It directly affects the body's ability to move safely and confidently. When the brain and legs fall out of sync, even simple actions like stepping off a curb or standing up from a chair can feel uncertain. Refined white bread causes blood sugar to rise and fall quickly. These swings affect not only energy levels, but also the brain's ability to process signals and control muscles smoothly. After a meal rich in white bread, some seniors experience a noticeable slowdown in mental clarity and physical coordination. This lag can show up as delayed response times, missteps, or a general sense that the legs are not moving as expected. Doctors explain that this disconnect between thought and movement raises the risk of trips and falls, especially during those critical hours after eating. Studies have shown that glucose fluctuations can impair brain regions responsible for motor control. In older adults, this impairment becomes more pronounced, particularly when paired with other age-related changes in nerve function. The refined flour in white bread offers no protective nutrients to support the brain, and its effects on insulin and inflammation may further weaken neural pathways that guide balance and posture. Over time, the result is a body that moves less confidently, not because of muscle weakness alone, but because of a fading connection between the mind and the limbs. Some neurologists warn that repeated episodes of this brain-muscle fog can contribute to long-term changes in mobility. Seniors may begin to walk slower, hesitate before stepping, or avoid movement altogether out of fear of falling. This decline doesn't always come from joint pain or aging nerves. It can also be traced to food, habits that interrupt the body's most basic communications. Recognizing the role white bread plays in this process gives seniors a chance to protect their clarity, improve coordination, and reduce risk, all by making thoughtful changes to what they eat. Cutting out bread completely isn't necessary, but choosing the right type can make a powerful difference, especially for those over 60. Certain breads work with the body instead of against it, helping reduce inflammation, support muscle function, and protect the nerves that keep the legs strong. Unlike white bread, which spikes blood sugar and fuels joint pain, breads made from whole grains, sprouted grains, or rye digest more slowly and provide nutrients the body truly needs. These alternatives can be especially helpful for seniors who experience leg heaviness, swelling, or cramps that seem to come and go without explanation. Whole grain breads contain all parts of the grain, including the bran and germ, which are rich in fiber, magnesium, and B vitamins. These nutrients support healthy muscle contractions and help stabilize blood sugar. Doctors often recommend whole grains for older adults because they lower inflammation markers and improve circulation. Better circulation means more oxygen to the muscles and nerves, which can ease the feeling of fatigue that often settles in the lower legs after walking or standing. For many seniors, simply switching to true whole grain bread leads to steadier energy and fewer episodes of cramping or stiffness. Sprouted grain breads offer an even greater benefit for aging bodies. The sprouting process breaks down some of the starches in the grain, making the bread easier to digest and more bioavailable, meaning the body can absorb more nutrients from every bite. Some studies suggest that sprouted grains help regulate insulin response, reduce oxidative stress, and strengthen the body's ability to manage inflammation. Seniors who make this switch often report that their legs feel lighter, movement feels smoother, and discomfort after activity is reduced. Rye bread is another smart alternative. Its dense structure and high fiber content slow digestion and help prevent blood sugar spikes that lead to energy crashes and inflammation. Rye also contains antioxidants that support vascular health, which is crucial for keeping leg muscles well fed with oxygen and nutrients. Doctors have observed that people who consume rye bread regularly often maintain better balance and leg coordination, both of which are critical for fall prevention as the body ages. These bread alternatives don't just taste different, they support a different kind of physical experience. Seniors who adopt them often notice subtle but meaningful changes: fewer nighttime cramps, less swelling at the end of the day, and greater confidence during walks or household activities. The shift isn't dramatic at first, but over time, the body responds. Muscles feel less burdened, nerves function more clearly, and the legs, so often affected by poor diet, begin to regain strength and ease. All from a small but powerful choice made at the table.